There comes a moment, perhaps while standing in the checkout line, watching the cashier's tired smile, or while waiting for the kettle to boil as rain streaks the window, or simply lying in bed, listening to the distant hum of traffic at 2 a.m., when the ordinary suddenly feels impossibly vast. Not loud, not dramatic, just a soft, steady unfolding, the quiet recognition that you are moving through a gentle architecture that was built long before you arrived and will remain long after you are gone. Every wall, every doorway, every hidden beam is shaped with such patient precision that most of us spend decades walking through it without ever noticing how perfectly it holds us. This architecture is not made of stone or steel. It is made of limits and allowances, of time that only moves forward, of bodies that slowly change, of minds that can hold only so much at once, and of the invisible threads that connect every living thing to every other living thing in ways we will never fully map. It is the exact measure of space granted to a single human life so that life can actually mean something. Without these quiet boundaries, everything would blur into an endless, weightless blur. With them, a single cup of tea on a cold morning can feel like an entire universe of warmth. A single honest conversation can feel like the rarest form of courage. A single ordinary day can become a cathedral of unnoticed miracles. Consider first the architecture of time. It arrives in small, steady doses, 24 hours, no more, no less, and refuses to negotiate. We cannot borrow from tomorrow or relive yesterday. Most of us treat this as a cruel restriction, racing against it, bargaining with it, or numbing ourselves to its steady march. Yet this very limitation is what gives each hour its unbearable value. Because the day is finite, the decision to really listen to someone matters. Because the week is finite, the choice to walk outside and feel the wind on your face becomes an act of reverence. Because your entire life is finite, the way you choose to spend the next 10 minutes, whether scrolling, worrying, or simply breathing with awareness, becomes the quiet material out of which your entire existence is woven. Time does not rush or dawdle to please us. It simply offers itself, completely and without remainder, so that we can learn what it means to be present inside something that will never repeat. Then there is the architecture of the body, the temporary home that carries us with such stubborn loyalty. It aches in the mornings, it forgets where it left the keys, it carries scars from injuries we barely remember. We spend years at war with it, wishing it were stronger, younger, more resilient, less demanding. But this exact body, with its creaks and its limits and its slow, inevitable softening, is not a mistake. It is the only instrument calibrated precisely enough to feel the particular texture of this life. The way your back protests after a long day of work is the body keeping honest records of what you have carried. The way your hands tremble when you are moved to tears is the body translating love into something visible. The slow arrival of gray hair or softer skin is not erasure. It is time etching its signature across the only canvas it was ever allowed to use. This body does not belong to you in the way we usually imagine ownership. It is on loan, a gentle vessel designed to let you taste salt on your lips, feel sunlight on your eyelids, and know what it means to hold another person close enough to hear their heartbeat. It will one day return the loan, but while it is here, it offers you the rare privilege of being fully, physically alive inside the architecture. Inside this body lives the mind, restless, curious, sometimes cruel to itself, often astonishing in its generosity. The mind is not a machine we control perfectly. Thoughts arrive like uninvited guests, some welcome, some not. Worries loop endlessly. Memories surface at inconvenient times. And yet, within this same mind, something miraculous keeps happening. Insight arrives sideways when we stop forcing it. A solution appears while you are folding socks. A sudden tenderness toward a difficult person blooms while you are staring at nothing. A line of music or a kind word you did not know you needed to speak rises up from some deeper current that the architecture itself seems to have placed inside you. We call these moments inspiration or intuition, but perhaps they are simply the architecture allowing the universe to think through us for a moment, using our small, ordinary consciousness the way wind uses a sail or light uses a window. The mind was never meant to solve everything. It was meant to notice, to wonder, to feel, and to keep choosing, again and again, to turn toward what is true and kind, even when certainty is impossible. And then there are the invisible threads that connect us to everyone and everything else. No one lives inside a completely private universe. Every choice ripples outward in ways we will never fully trace. The patience you show the tired cashier may become the small kindness that helps her through her day, and hours later, helps her be gentler with her child. The song you hum while walking may drift into someone else's open window and become the exact note they needed to remember they are not alone. The grief you carry quietly may one day become the compassion that helps a stranger feel seen. We are all woven into the same gentle architecture, each of us a single thread that is both separate and inseparably part of the larger pattern. This is where the deepest courage is asked of us, the courage to keep reaching across the small distances between us, even though we know we can never fully cross them. To speak honestly, to listen without fixing, to offer our presence without needing to be remembered. These small acts of connection are not decorations on the architecture. They are the living mortar that holds the entire structure together. Woven through all of this is the profound and necessary uncertainty that the architecture also provides. We do not know how many more ordinary Tuesdays we will be given. We do not know which small choice today will matter most 10 years from now. We do not know the final shape our lives will take, or what any of it ultimately means. Most of human history has been spent trying to remove this uncertainty, through control, through endless explanations. But the architecture was built wiser than that. The not knowing is not a flaw. It is the open space where wonder, humility, and real love are allowed to grow. In the gap between what we can control and what we cannot, tenderness becomes possible. Forgiveness becomes necessary. Curiosity stays alive. The gentle uncertainty keeps the heart soft enough to be broken open again and again, by beauty, by loss, by the simple fact of being alive. This is where the quiet practice of the architecture reveals itself, not in grand gestures or dramatic transformations, but in the patient, daily decision to meet what is actually here, to feel the ache without rushing to numb it, to notice the small beauty without needing to photograph it, to keep choosing presence when distraction would be easier, to hold your own imperfection with the same gentleness you would offer a tired friend. These are not minor skills. They are the way we learn to live inside the architecture instead of fighting against its walls. They are how we stop waiting for some future version of life to begin and start recognizing that this exact, imperfect, unrepeatable version is the one we were always meant to inhabit. Some nights, the weight of the architecture may feel heavy, like the knowledge that nothing lasts, that bodies fail, that minds wander, that we will never understand everything. That is part of the design, too. The architecture does not promise endless ease. It promises coherence. It promises that nothing important will be wasted. It promises that even the difficult days are being held inside the same gentle structure that holds the sunrise and the shared laughter and the quiet moments of unexpected grace. You do not have to love every part of it. You only have to meet it honestly. You only have to let it shape you the way water shapes stone, slowly, patiently, beautifully. And when the moment comes, as it does for everyone, when you stand at the edge of another ordinary day and feel the full, quiet wonder of being allowed to participate at all, you can let yourself rest inside the recognition you are not an accident inside the architecture. You are one of the places where the architecture gets to feel itself. Every breath you take is the architecture breathing. Every act of kindness is the architecture learning mercy. Every moment of honest attention is the architecture noticing its own quiet beauty through your eyes. You will never redesign the entire structure. You will never see the original blueprint. You will never step outside the gentle walls that make stepping possible. But you can live so completely inside them that the living itself becomes a form of gratitude. You can fill the given space with as much presence, as much wonder, as much stubborn tenderness as one small human life can possibly hold. You can turn toward the architecture with open hands and say, without needing an answer, I see how gently you hold me. I feel how precisely you are built. And still, inside every ordinary moment you allow, I choose to live as fully, as honestly, and as brightly as these exact conditions permit. That choice, repeated across 10,000 unremarkable days, is not a small thing. It is the entire miracle the architecture was waiting for. It is the way a single life becomes the living signature at the bottom of a quiet, perfect design. And it is more than enough. It is everything.